Welcome to our channel. Today we are diving into a key topic that is vital to understanding how our economic works, the different sectors of Indian economy. We will break down in a way that is easy to grasp whether you are a student and just someone curious about how our economic ticks. So this video will be helpful to you. So these are the topic which we are going to study from our JIV examination point of view as per our Macmillan syllabus. First of all, we will see what are the rules and importance of primary, secondary and tertiary sector, quaternary and quinary sector. So what are these sectors and what are their rules and importance. Then after we will see the difference between these sectors, and we will see the different revolution which arose in the primary sector, GDP contribution of different sector, agriculture, industry, services. These are the different sector. What are their GDP contribution? And we will see the employment growth rate in the secondary sector. What are the sunrises sector of the Indian economy? And finally, we will complete our chapter with organized and inorganized sector. So this video will be divided into different parts. For those of you who want lectures in English, we have already started our courses in English language for all of the 4 subjects. You can take help of our study material in the form of videos, PDF and mock test to maximize your chance of clearing JIV examination. And also English videos are also available. For more detail you can WhatsApp me on this number shown on the screen. So without delay, let's begin our discussion. So let's start with the basic. Economy is like a big machine, right, with different parts working together to keep everything running smoothly. So for a smooth running of every part, economy is like a big machine with different parts working together to keep everything running smoothly. And these parts are known as sectors. So these parts are called what? These parts are called sectors. So we have just talked about the economy is a big machine which has many parts, and each part is known as sector. In India, like in many other country, we categorize economic activities into 3 main sectors. What are the 3 main sectors? The primary, secondary and tertiary sector. But we will also touch into 2 additional sector, that is the quaternary and quinary sector, that are becoming more relevant as economies evolve. So first up is primary sector. Think of this like a backbone of any economy, especially in country like India. This sector involves activities where people directly use natural resource. So it involves direct use of natural resource, right? So this sector involves direct use of natural resource. For example, farming, forestry, fishing, fuel, metal, minerals. All of this falls under the primary sector. Essentially, if it involves growing something, harvesting it from nature or digging it out of the ground, it is a part of this sector, right? That is called primary sector. In India, primary sector is incredibly important. It includes agriculture. Agriculture, is the biggest employer in the country. Many people's livelihood depends on the activities in this sector, making it crucial for the economy overall health. So to recap, primary sector is all about the direct use of natural resource. Remember this is a very important point, direct use of the natural resource, right? When I say natural resource, I mean farming, forestry and fishing. It is a sector that feed us, provide raw material and support a significant portion of Indian population. So now we will see the secondary sector and the tertiary sector in the next slide. Let's come to the next slide. Now let's talk about the secondary sector. See, this sector is about, in this sector we take raw material from the primary sector and turning them into something new. So that raw material is converted into something new form, right? That raw material converted into something new form. Let me give you an example. For example, you can take cotton from the fields, turn into cloths. This is the cotton which is the raw material, and from this cotton what we prepare? We prepare cloths, right? Or second example, you can take iron ore being transformed into steel. So these are the example of the secondary sector where we convert this raw material into something useful form. So this process of turning raw material into finished goods is what we call an industrial activities. So you might have seen there industrial sector, this word is written. So this process of conversion of raw material into finished goods is called industrial activity. And now the secondary sector is very crucial. So let me show you its important. So first of all, we have understood what is secondary sector all about. That means converting raw material into finished goods. It is about the secondary sector. And the second thing that we will see is regarding why it is crucial. It is crucial because it not only add value to the raw material, material, but also create jobs and drives economic growth. So in addition to adding value addition, the value addition it does, plus it also create jobs and drive economic growth. In fact, this sector usually generate at least half of the country national GDP. Try to understand, half of country national GDP is attributed to the secondary sector. So now you can see how much important it is. Half of the national income, half of the country national GDP is contributed by the secondary sector, and it provides employment to a large portion of the population. So every time you see a factory or hear about manufacturing, so what you are seeing the secondary sector in action, right? So this is about the secondary sector. So let me talk about the tertiary sector. So next up is tertiary sector. Unlike the primary and secondary sector, which deals with goods, the tertiary sector is all about services. So we have just covered the primary and secondary sector, and I have told you that these two sectors deals with goods, while if we talk about the tertiary sector, it deals with the services, right? So these are the activities that do not produce a physical product but are essential to the economy. So as the name suggests, they do not produce any physical product, but they are very crucial for the economy. So you can think of education, healthcare, banking, communication, etc. Which these services are crucial for both people and the business to function smoothly. In today's world, tertiary sector has become incredibly important, especially in country like India, where services contribute a significant portion of the GDP. It is also known as knowledge sector. This is where activities like teaching, research, development comes into play. Quaternary sector represent the intellectual side of the economy. So the key word here is knowledge sector, and second key word is intellectual side. So if you have been asked which sector is called, it reflect the intellectual aspect, so the answer is in quaternary sector. It is where new ideas are generated, where research happen, and where knowledge is shared. In an increasingly digital and information driven world, the quaternary sector is growing rapidly. Think of universities, research institution, and tech company. These are all part of the quaternary sector. This sector might not be as visible as factories or farms, but it is as crucial for the economy, long-term growth, and innovation. So let's recap the key points which we have covered in this particular slide. So to sum it up, the secondary sector has transformed raw material to finished goods. Right, secondary sector transform the raw material to finished goods, and it's major source of jobs and GDP. And the next part we have talked about is tertiary sector. Tertiary sector provides the services. It provides the essential services that support both individual and businesses. The quaternary sector is all about knowledge, research, and innovation, fueling the future of our economy. So in the next slide we will explore quaternary sector and discuss how these sectors interact to drive the economy forward. Let's see the quaternary sector. Let's come to the quaternary sector. See, so far we have covered the primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary sector of the Indian economy. Each of this sector plays a unique role in how our economy functions. Today, in this section, we are going to talk about the final sector, that is the quaternary sector, that is called the decision-making powerhouse of the economy. Remember this, decision-making powerhouse of the economy. This is the key word. Decision-making powerhouse. So let's explore the quaternary sector, which represents the highest level of decision making in both the government and private corporate sector. This is where the most crucial decisions that shape the economy are made. The people who work in the quaternary sector are often referred to as a brain. They are referred to as the brain behind an economy. Right? They include top level executives, right? Research scientists, government officials, financiers, and legal advisors. These individuals make decisions that impact the entire nation, from an economic policy to corporate strategies. For example, a government minister deciding on a new economic policy. Suppose he is deciding on a new economic policy, a government minister, or a CEO steering a major corporation. All of these actions can happen in the quaternary sector, right? So because of its critical role in guiding the economy, the quaternary sector is seen as the essential to the socio-economic performance of a country. So it is seen as the very essential for the socio-economic performance of a country, right? The decision made here influences everything from the job creation and economic growth to technological advancement and social welfare. So to sum it up, The culinary sector includes the top decision maker, key points, top decision maker in both the government and private sectors. This is the second point. It is called the brain of the economy because in influencing its direction and overall key performance. And the key role in this sector includes the senior executive, government officials and advisors who shape the policy and strategy. So now that we have covered all the five sectors of the Indian economy, we can see how each one from the primary to the culinary plays a vital role in keeping our economy running smoothly. So in the next slide, we will discuss how these sectors interact and support each other, creating a balanced and dynamic economy. Now let's come to the next slide. This is all about the differences between the three main sectors, that is primary, secondary and tertiary sector. Now, so we have already explored the different sector of Indian economy from the primary sector to the culinary sector. So we'll compare the primary, secondary and tertiary sector to understand how they differ and complement with each other in driving economic growth. Each sector in the Indian economy plays a unique role, and their differences are foundation to how we classify economic activities. Then let's first talk about the primary sector. Let's first talk about this primary sector. Primary sectors involves activities like agriculture, forestries, right, and mining. So these are the jobs that are directly use natural resource. Agriculture sector, primary sector is also known as agriculture and associated activity services. Remember, the second name of this is agriculture and associated services. So function A, it is a source of raw material that are essential for the production of goods and services in the other sector. So as so far as function is concerned, it is a source of raw material. Let's talk about the organization. The primary sector is generally less organized and often relies on traditional method. So it is unorganized and often rely on the traditional method. And workforce, if we talk about the workforce, so in the developing country like India, a large proportion of the workforce is employed in this sector compared to the developed one. So this is about the primary sector. I have given you the example agriculture and associated activity. In developing country like India, large proportion of the workforce is employed in the sector compared to the developed nation. Now let's talk about the secondary sector. First of all, activities like manufacturing unit, small scale industry, major enterprise, even global organization, right? You can see manufacturing unit, small scale unit, major enterprise, global organization, all of these comes under secondary sector. The second thing is also called as industrial and manufacturing sector. And the next point is function, right? We have talked about the second part. It is often called as industrial and manufacturing sector or simply the manufacturing sector. We are talking about the secondary sector. If we talk about the function of it, so what is the function of the secondary sector? The secondary sector transforms the raw material from the primary sector and adds value to them by turning them into goods. See, so whatever raw material it obtained from primary sector, it turns the raw material into finished goods by value addition. So this value addition work is done by what? Is done by the secondary sector, right? This is activities. Now if we talk about the organization, so it is more organized as compared to the primary sector. It uses efficient production method and technology, so it is more organized, right? It is more organized. And if we talk about the workforce, the employment rate in this sector is stable because it requires a specific skill set balancing supply and demand for labor, right? Like in this case of primary sector, we have seen that in the developing country like India, a large proportion of the workforce is employed in this sector, primary sector, whereas in the secondary sector, what we have seen, the employment rate is stable because it requires a specific skill set. That's why demand and supply get balanced. So every aspect we have touched in this particular table. Now let's talk about the secondary sector, which is called the service engine. It's called service engine, right? See, tertiary sector involves activities like banking, insurance, communications. It does not produce goods, but it provides services that are crucial for the functioning of economy. It is also referred to as a service sector. If we talk about the Fansang, this sector provide essential services to both the primary and secondary sector, supporting them with the logistics and communication and financial services. So logistic, communication, financial services, all of these are supported. If we talk about the organizations, then this tertiary sector is well organized. Like we have seen, the primary sector was unorganized, secondary sector was organized, when the tertiary sector is well organized. Right, and it relies on advanced logistic and technology to perform its function efficiently. If we talk about the workforce, in the recent year, the tertiary sector share of the tertiary sector share of employment has increased significantly, reflecting the growing importance of services in the economy. Right, so this sector employment share has risen dramatically in the recent year. So to summarize the key points which we have covered in this particular slide, first of all we talk about the primary sector, which focus on extracting the raw material, natural resources, and it is crucial in developing economy. See the key points. First thing we have talked about is extracting natural resources. It is very crucial in developing economy, where it employs a large workforce. The second thing we have talked about the secondary sector. It transforms this raw material into finished goods, contributing significantly to the GDP, and it provides a stable employment. So here we have seen the key point is a stable employment. Right, yeah, like you have seen, employment rate is in equilibrium, that's called a stable employment. And the last point we have covered is tertiary sector. It offers services that are essential for a smooth operation of both the primary and secondary sector. Right, so well organized, it is well organized, it has grown, and it is called it has grown with the rise of the service economy. So so in the next slide we will discuss how this sector work together to create a balanced economy, and how shift between them indicate economic development. So if you find this video useful, and if you want such lecture in English, you can WhatsApp me on this particular number for more detail. So see, let's come to the next slide. So let's see the different revolution in the primary sector. So we have been exploring the different sector of Indian economy, how they contribute to the overall economic framework. Today we are going to focus on something very crucial, that is a different revolution in the primary sector which have transformed agriculture in India. See, Indian agriculture sector has traditionally been characterized by subsistence farming. You see this word written here clearly, subsistence farming. It means that most farming was done to feed the farmer's own family with little left for sale or trade. So the key goal was to feed one's family, not on trading, and nothing for sale. Whatever was left, it was used for sale and trading. Farming in India had also been heavily dependent on rainfall, that is called rain-fed farming, making it vulnerable to drought and other natural challenges. So these are the major challenges like subsistence, rain-fed farming. Right. Additionally, the focus was primarily on food grain like wheat and rice, with little diversification into other crop or commercial farming. This led to issues like low productivity, insufficient food supply for a growing population, creating a cycle of poverty. So we are talking about the different revolution. The focus was primarily on food grain like wheat and rice, with little diversification into other crop. So the focus was on two grain like we talk about wheat and rice, with little diversification into other crop or commercial farming. This led to issues like low productivity, insufficient food supply for a growing population, creating a cycle of poverty, particularly in the rural area. Right, because if you talk in the Indian perspective, the main focus primarily on food grain like wheat and rice, with little diversification into other crop or commercial farming. This led to issues like low productivity, insufficient food supply for a growing population. To address these challenges, the government initiated a series of revolutions in the primary sector. Right, these revolutions were aimed at increasing agriculture productivity, improving livelihood, and meeting the need of rapidly growing population. Let's talk about some of the key revolutions. The first key revolution, as per our book, is Green Revolution. So Green Revolution is perhaps the most well known of this initiative. It started in the 1966 and focused on introducing HYV. When I talk HYV, it means high yield varieties of seed, particularly of wheat and rice, high yield variety. This revolution also promoted the use of chemical fertilizer and irrigation to boost productivity, and the father of Green Revolution is known as MS Swaminathan. Now the next thing is white revolution. White revolution is also called Operation Flood. The second name of white revolution is Operation Flood. Right. See, the white revolution focused on dairy production. As the name suggests, it focused on dairy production. It aimed to increase milk production and create a nationwide milk grid. The revolution made India one of the largest producer of milk in the world. So the white revolution we have talked about, it is all about milk production. The revolution made India one of the largest producer of the milk in the world. The next is blue revolution. So let me go to the blue revolution in detail. See, the blue revolution was aimed at enhancing fixed fish production, right? And the father is known as Arun Krishnan. So by promoting better practices in the fish farming, India saw a significant increase in its fish production. The yellow revolution. The yellow revolution targeted the production of oil seed to reduce India's dependency on import for edible oil. By improving the cultivation of crops like mustard and sunflower, this revolution helped increase domestic production and supported rural economy. The next is golden revolution. If we talk about the golden revolution, it focused on horticulture. And now tell me, who is known as the father of the yellow revolution? It is no one but Sam Pitroda, right? So golden revolution focused on horticulture, growth of food, vegetable, flower and species. These not only diversify agriculture but also boosted export and provided new opportunities for farmers. So also some sectors revolution like silver revolution, eggs, silver fiber revolution, cotton, pink revolution, pharmaceutical. So what was the impact of this revolution? The revolution have profound or some points like red revolution meat tomato, red revolution fertilizer, evergreen revolution overall production of agriculture, black revolution petroleum, reduce So friends, this was all about the part 1 lecture of unit number 2. If you want such type of lecture, feel free to WhatsApp in this particular number. Thank you.